Hello viewers, in this video I will discuss about the law, Coulomb's law. Okay, we will see what are the terms involved in Coulomb's law and what is the relationship between the Coulomb's law. Okay, and in this video I will be also discussing about the Coulomb's law in vector form and also force acting on multiple charges. We will see all this in this particular video. Okay, so we'll move on to Coulomb's law. So to express Coulomb's law, let us take two charges, okay, separated by a distance r. Okay, so what is the statement given by Coulomb? He says that the force acting between the two charges, okay, see, it is directly proportional to, let us give the name of these charges as 1 and 2. He says it is directly proportional to the magnitude of the two charges. Okay, magnitude of the two charges, and he also says that it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Square of the distance between them. So now let us imagine, for the initial condition, let us take the distance as r. If I am going to increase the distance by 2r, what happens to the force? See, for the first condition, let us take the force as F1. For the second condition, let us take the force as F2. So now we will find the value of F2. F1 by F2 will be, so for as it is, so when you square it, it will become r square. So from this, we could find that the final force F2 will become F1 by 4. See, when I increase the distance by when I double the distance or increase it by twice, see, the force reduces by 4 times. So when the distance is increased, when the distance of separation is increased, we see the force gets reduced more. Okay, so this is about this statement. So now we will represent the force. So see, the force, to remove this proportionality, I am including a constant k and q1 q2 by r square. This value of k is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. Okay, so in this statement, this epsilon naught is nothing but the permittivity of free space or vacuum. Okay, it represents the permission allowed for the force to travel. Okay, so to express that permission, we are representing this term epsilon naught, which is represented here as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, this term represents the permittivity of free space, and the value of this term is given by 8.854 minus 12 Coulomb square Newton. This is the value, this is the unit of this particular value. Okay. Okay, so here we have represent the force, and this is in modulus form because the value should be in positive form. Okay, now, so here the most important point with respect to Coulomb's law is the Coulomb's law is mostly valid only in vacuum. Mostly valid only in vacuum. So what happens when we are considering other mediums? If we are considering other mediums, the force could be remodified as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught epsilon r q1 q2 by r square. Okay, so I have included the representation of the medium. So this epsilon r represents the permittivity of the medium. It represents the permittivity of the medium. So this value of force, so other than medium, when you consider vacuum, this is the representation of the force. This represents the magnitude of the force. This represents the magnitude of the force. Okay, and some more points regarding Coulomb's. See, the force always act in a straight line. The most important point is force always acts in a straight line. Okay, you could not put a curve all the way. The force acts in a straight line. And another point here, the charges considered are point charges. We cannot take a massive charge because we could not find the point where the force acts. Okay, so the Coulomb's law the charges considered are point charges, and one more point is charges are at rest. One more point is the charges are at rest. Only the charges are at rest are considered here. Moving charges are not considered here in with respect to Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law is applicable only for these conditions, only for point charges and also the charges at rest. Okay, so this is about the representation of the Coulomb's law with respect to magnitude. Okay, now we have discussed about the magnitude. What about the direction? Let's move on to the representation of the direction. Okay, so the direction is represented by, see, the direction is represented by the Coulomb's law in vector form. We are representing the direction in vector form. So same case, let us take the charges Q1 and Q2. See, this is the line of separation. Okay. So for mathematical representation, let us take the charges as positive. Two charges positive. Okay. This is R. Now I'm going to see the force acting. So imagine that we have two forces, two charges here. We have to find the force acting on individual charges. Okay. Now see that. Let us consider me as one, charges 1. Okay. So imagine that a duplicate of me standing nearby me. So if I am applying the force, means I can apply the force in this direction. See, the force applied by me standing here, one up is in this direction with respect to Q2. This direction. The force applied by one is in this direction. Imagine. Similarly, now imagine I am Q2 here. So the force applied by me will be in this direction with respect to Q1 because Q1 is standing there. This direction. This is the direction. Okay. Okay. So now first we will consider Q2. So we have to find the what is the force acting on Q2 by Q1. So when Q1 hits Q2, imagine that when Q1 hits Q2, what is the force acting on Q2? So both are repulsive force. Okay, so the force acting on Q2 will be in this direction. How I am representing it is 2, 1. So 2 is the force acting on 2 by 1. Okay, so 2, it is the 2 is the person who got the hit. 1 is the person who hit it. Okay, like the for him, just for the purpose of understanding I said it. Okay, so F21. Similarly, when, so after getting hitting by Q1, now Q2 gets angry. Ah, you bet me. So I am the angry person Q2 will also bet Q1. So in which direction? See, this is the direction. Okay. So this is the force acting on 1 by 2. Okay. So both, imagine that both charges are fighting. So that is the case. So this is the force acting on 1. So this is the force acting on 1 by 2. This is the force acting on 2 by 1. This is the directions. Okay. Now the distance of separation. Okay. With respect to, first let us take this case F21. The distance of separation in vector form. Now here it is given by R21 vector. This represents the distance of the force in vector form. Okay. With respect to F21 force. With respect to F12 force, because F12 force is from 2 to 1. So this is the representation. FR12 vector. This is the direction. For this, this is the direction. Here we have represented the distance in vector form. For example, you are hitting a person nearby with the ball. Okay. When you throw the ball, we see that the distance of the force like this. This is represented like this. Okay. R21 and R12. Okay. So now what is the magnitude? How will you represent the total force? First I will represent F21. So F21 is represented as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, the magnitude of the force Q1, Q2 by, so here R21 vector in modulus square, because it should be in positive form. Okay, so R21 square. Next, so I have represented the magnitude. Now what is the direction? So direction is represented by the unit vector. This represents the direction of this force. Okay, this represents the magnitude. Magnitude, for example, is 50. Okay, 50 Newton. In which direction? This direction. So the direction is specified by this unit vector. So what is this unit vector? You know that unit vector is a vector of magnitude 1 which specifies only the direction. So r cap is equal to r vector by modulus of r vector. r vector by the magnitude. Vector by the magnitude of the vector represents the unit vector. So for similarly, so r21 cap could be written as r21 vector by modulus of r21 vector. Okay, so this could be replaced or could be rearranged by r21 square. So I am replacing r21 vector. This is vector by magnitude. Okay, so this could be written as 1 by, so q1 q2 by cube of r21 cap. Yes, f21 is represented by like this. Okay, only it could be this form, so keep in mind this form and also this one. So both are correct. Okay, so after if we expand this unit vector, so it could be written like this. Okay, similarly we can also write f12. You could also write f12. See here f12, like the same case we have 1 by 4 by epsilon naught q1 q2 by r12 cap whole square r12 cap. So compare both these equations. Similarly, this equation also could be written for the f12 also 1 by 4 pi, just replacing, that's q1 q2 by, so r12 cube of r12 unit vector. So this is the way of representing the force in vector form. Okay, so in vector form here we have represented both in magnitude and also direction. Okay, this is one form of representing the forces in vector form. We will see another forces also, another form, another vector form also with respect to position vectors. Okay. Okay, now we will represent, okay, the vector form with respect to position vectors. Okay, now let us consider a case like this. I have 2 point charges. Okay, so I have origin here. I have 2 point charges located like this. So imagine a situation. So I have two charges like this. Okay, so I am the origin. So these two balls are separated from me from these distances. So they are separated from some distances, and some force acts between these two charges. So what could be the value of the force between two charges with respect to position vector? I am going to represent here. So let us imagine this is the position of the charge q1 and this is the position of the charge q2. Okay, so they are separated from the origin of r1 vector, and this is of r2 vector. Okay, so this is the gap and this is represented by delta r vector form. Okay, so this is the case. Okay, now I have to find the forces with respect to the, okay, so now you know that, so you already have seen this is q2 means what is the force acting on this. So this could be the direction of the force F21, this could be the direction of the force F12. Okay, so how I'm going to represent the position vectors? See, for this case the force acting on 2 from 1, the direction will be like this. The direction of this particular delta r will be like this. So from this we can see that the direction here is, see the r1, it is clockwise, this is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. Under what condition? When we are considering the force F21, this is the arrow mark. So now I am going to represent here. So R1 vector plus delta R vector is equal to R2 vector. Because these two are clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. So from this delta R vector could be rewritten as R2 vector minus R1 vector. So here delta R is nothing but, it is nothing but R21 vector. So R1. Okay, so now when considering the force F12, the direction will be this. This is the direction. Okay, so while considering this direction, see that it is anti-clockwise, it is anti-clockwise, and this is clockwise. So from this, we could see that R2 vector plus delta R vector is equal to R1 vector. So from this, delta R vector could be written as R1 vector minus R2 vector. So in this case, delta R vector is nothing but R12 vector, which is equal to R1 cap minus R2 cap. So this is the representation of the position vectors. So from this, the formula force could be represented as, see, I am first writing F21 Q2 by R21 in the whole square unit vector R21 cap. So this could be replaced as, so R21 we know here, this is whole square. So this R21 unit vector could be replaced by vector by magnitude. So this is vector by magnitude. Okay, so this could be rewritten as 1 by, so when you multiply with this, it will be getting R21 minus R1 vector cube of, so this is the way of representing F21 with respect to position vectors. Okay, so similarly we can also write it for F12 also. So F12 also, when you represent this 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R12 square of R12 cap. So the end equation could be also written for this. So Q1 Q2 by R1 minus R2 cube of R1 minus R2. Okay, so you have to keep this in mind, this equation for F21 and this equation for F21 and all this equation for F12. Okay. Okay, so this is the representation of the force with respect to the position vectors. Okay, so let's compare this. So already we have written F12 as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R21 cap. So either modulus of the vector form. Okay, this is if it is in cube means this is of vector and this is cube. Okay, it is 1 2 cube of R12 vector. Okay, so let's compare with respect to position vectors. So most they are similar. Okay, not much difference for the representation of these equations. Okay, so this is the way of representing the Coulomb's law in vector form. So first we are expressed normally, then we also represent the equations with respect to the position vectors. Okay, okay, please make a note of it. Okay, now we will move on to the force due to multiple charges. So now let us consider three charges like this, Q1, Q2 and Q3. So same straight line of action. Okay. So now force due to multiple charges. So here we have force due to multiple charges. So here what we have said is the force, that is the resultant force on one of the charge. The resultant force on one of the charge is the vector sum of the forces due to remaining charges. This is the statement when with respect to the multiple charges. So now we have three charges. So let us take charge 1, Q1. Okay. So what is the resultant force on 1? That will be equal to the vector sum of the forces due to the remaining charges 2 and 3. For example, I am taking the resultant forces F1. This is the F12 plus F13. This is the vector sum of the forces due to discharge and discharge. That is, this could be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R12 square of R12 unit cap plus 1 by Q1 Q3 here, Q1 Q3 by R13 square of R13 unit cap. So see here, vector sum of the forces. Okay. So now if I have multiple charges Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Qn. So now what is the resultant force on one of the charge? So here I will take an example as 1. It could be either 2 or 3. When you write 2 here, if I write 2 here, what is the charge represented will be to F21, F23. So accordingly the formula could be changed. Okay. So it is a statement given in this here. So here also when we have multiple charges, now if I take the resultant acting on this one charge, it could be what? F12, F13, F14 up to F1n. Okay, here I am considering one charge, that is 1. The F1 is equal to F12, F13, F14 and F1n. Okay, so this is the way of representing force due to multiple charges. Okay, so we can also find the resultant value with respect to the parallelogram law of vectors. We can also find the resultant force by parallelogram law of vectors. Now consider a arrangement like this. So here I have Q1, Q2 and here I have Q3. Okay. So now I'm going to find the resultant force acting on Q1. So you know that, so here it is Q1. Okay. So the force acting on Q3 will be in this direction. Okay, so will be in this direction. It is not writing this direction. So this is F13. Force from Q2 and Q1 will be in this direction. That is F12. Okay. So from this, the resultant force could be found by the resultant force magnitude, because if they are represented on the two sides of a parallelogram, so the resultant magnitude could be found by, you know, that F to F12, F13 cos theta. Theta is the angle between the two forces and the resultant represents the diagonal of the parallelogram. Okay, this represents the direction of the force. Okay, so this represents the magnitude, this represents the direction of the force. Okay, this is also one of the method of finding the resultant force acting on the charges. So similarly, we can also find the resultant force on the direction on Q2. See, with respect to Q2, the force due to Q1 will be in this direction and due to Q3 will be in this direction. Okay, so the resultant will be this direction. Okay, so if they are represented as two sides of a parallelogram, so the resultant will be this direction. This is the direction and the resultant R could be found by, so with respect to 2, it is F21 square plus F23 square plus 2F21 F23 cos theta. Theta is the angle between the two forces. Okay, so this is F21 23 S23 and this is F21. Similarly, we can also find it for Q3 also. The same procedure could be followed. Okay, so the individual forces, for example, F12 found by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R12 square. So we are just finding the magnitude only. So similar way we can also find the remaining forces 1 3 2 3 2 1. Okay, so this is the way to find the force when they are multiple charges. So when they are multiple charges, what is the force acting on individual by remaining multiples? Okay. And with respect to Coulomb's, one more point to be said with respect to Coulomb's forces. So we have seen the Coulomb's force between two plus charges. Okay. So is represented. Okay. So for like charges, we see that there is a force of repulsion. So what will be the case like here? Minus q and plus q. So in these cases, we see that there is a force of attraction. So imagine that we have a hero and heroine in case of film. So they are moving towards each other, running and moving towards each other. So see, we have a hero here, we have a heroine here. So they are moving towards each other. This will be the force of attraction. Okay, like this, the force due to this sound, this will be in this direction, and this will be in this direction. So direction will be towards. Okay, when they are unlike charges. So this is the case. When there are similar charges, so here we have minus and minus means we see that it will be in opposite direction. Force of repulsion and as explained before, force of attraction. This is force of repulsion and this is the force of attraction. This is the force of attraction. Okay, so depending upon the charges, we could find the directions properly. Okay, and this is about the end. Okay, so here we have discussed about Coulomb's law vector form, and also the force due to multiple charges. Okay, thank you.